r/AskReddit Redditors who are not in love with their so's. Why are you still with them? Good question, Opus. I'm in a relationship for the last 14 years and what I have to say is, love is amorphous. It changes what it is and is hard to pinpoint sometimes. Sometimes you will be mad at each other. Sometimes you will share laughter and smiles and hugs and kisses. Sometimes you will be underwhelmed. Sometimes you will be bored. Sometimes you will be full of pride and appreciation. Other times you will take them for granted. Sometimes the sex will be great. Other times Sammy. But life goes on. Can anyone truly say they are in love constantly and without interruption always? Or is it something that ebbs and flows? I think the latter. But I'm always loyal and feel allegiance to my partner and family. I always have the attitude that I'm committed and we are on this journey together, and I certainly don't want to be with anyone else. So that's my 2 cents right now. I'm always loyal and feel allegiance to my partner and family. I always have the attitude that I'm committed and we are on this journey together, and I certainly don't want to be with anyone else. That is love. I think people confuse dopamine highs with love, which is why they get bored with awesome people. I was the one super in love. I don't think he was. Once every 4 or 5 months, we'd have some sort of discussion. The last time, it was that he didn't know if what we had was love. I should have seen that as a warning. But I convinced him to stay with me after an hour discussion. I think he felt guilty. I stayed with him through suicide attempts, drug-induced psychosis, and moved countries for him. I imagine he felt an incredible amount of guilt and stayed with me because of that. I think he cared for my well-being maybe, but he wasn't in love. And it's painfully obvious now that I'm out of the relationship. I hate this one because I can't just chalk it up to someone being a jerk. My brother can't stand his wife, hasn't really been in love with her since about a year before their wedding. He talks about divorce to me when we are alone, but he'll never do it. He thinks he'll never meet anyone else being 32 with no social life. Plus there's a strong possibility she might kill herself if they broke up, or at least attempt it. So together they'll stay. I just hope they don't bring kids into it. 32. He has so much life ahead of him. And no kids. He needs to get out of there, and his wife needs therapy. Edit. Should have added they could both benefit from seeing a mental health professional. I focused on her need as more immediate, but realistically he needs to explore why he chose to get married in that situation to begin with. My boss has been vocal about wanting to leave, but he has kids and no prenup, so he can't afford it. My cousin told me about 3 hours after he got married that he didn't want to get married, but now he was terrified he would lose his house and basically all his money, alimony plus child support, if they got divorced. I told him that he should have said something 3+ hours ago, and he said he couldn't. I then asked him if this was such a big concern to him, why he didn't get a prenup. His exact words to me were, "Those don't actually exist. They're just made up for movies." They've been married just over 2 years now, and I'm pretty sure it's only going to end if she leaves him or one of them dies. Considering he's 26 and she's 23 or 24, it sounds like he's in for a long miserable life. My sister is a massive piece of shit. Constantly calls her husband limpy in front of people in reference to his supposed limp dick. Tells him that she wishes he'd get in a car and drive off a cliff. I'm not saying she does this just when they are arguing. I mean she does this literally every single day, not even angry at him. He's been dealing with this bullshit for 20+ years out of the 30 years they've been together. The reason he does not leave here is that she would be homeless if he did. She has a bunch of felonies for theft, identity theft, prescription forgeries, etc. She used to be a nurse, had a decent career. Now she wouldn't be able to get a job anywhere. He knows that if he were to leave her, there's a decent chance she'd die on the streets. Other than him, everyone has abandoned her at this point. Just a side note, he is an incredibly honest person. Never steals, does not do drugs, goes to work every single day and works hard. Edit. Here are some text messages between them that their son, my nephew, sent me. I guess his mom sent them to him to show that their father did not deny abusing her. The husband doesn't look great here, but I can't honestly blame him at this point. I spent a couple of years living in their house a while back, and I can say that I never saw the dude get angry, be abusive, or anything else. Maybe he's had enough at this point and is fighting back. Not sure. However, in the time I spent living there, I had my sister steal everything out of my wallet, sign up for credit cards in my name, watched her abuse him and the kids, emotionally, nearly every day, etc. Overall, it's just a very sad situation. It just sort of became a habit, and when I realized I didn't have the feelings anymore, we had 2 young children and I didn't want to break up the family, and later when we tried couples therapy, this didn't change anything, but our son was diagnosed with leukemia 2 years ago, so I felt we had to stay together until he was well. My ex didn't agree, and we were divorced this summer. My son is almost through the treatment and is doing fine. I have not been this happy and relaxed in years, and so far the kids, 6 and 9 have coped well with me moving, and when they are staying at my new place. You guys did the right thing. Much better for children to have separated, happy parents than married, miserable ones. Glad to hear you're doing well. I'm currently in an amazing relationship, textbook true love type of stuff. However, years back I was in a relationship with a woman who abused me physically, sexually, and otherwise. And I did not love her, not for the last year or so, when the abuse got bad. So why did I stay, if it was so bad? Well, unfortunately, and this is true for abusive relationship as well as for mundane loveless relationships, people get wound up together, and then it becomes very difficult to imagine your life without them, even if it's not a good life. I guess people are better at surviving the current hardship than breaking away into the unknown. There's a lot more to my story, and everyone's story has its own details. But I think that's the basic answer. You build a life with someone, it gets hard to throw that life away. Being in love seems like a state over which you have no control. I long ago made the decision just to love the woman who became my wife. Fortunately, she made the same decision about me. Romantic infatuation has faded, but our love for each other endures. It takes work to maintain, to avoid taking each other for granted. Love is not an emotion, it is a practice. I love this. I have been married for 21 years and this is true. I also think feelings of being in love can come back. For us it was a matter of our kids being older now and us finding hobbies we love doing together. Reignited that flame. I'm glad we stuck it out through the hard times. In my first relationship I thought I had scored the jackpot. I was young, and he was young, and jacked and smart. He overglorified himself, and I just couldn't see that. I looked up to him as a god, mainly because he kept saying I was bad at my studies, and cooking and basically everything that I love to do. I thought I would never get someone better, so thus I stayed. I thought I loved him. I thought that was what love was, but I was just proud that I had gotten someone so amazing. I was stupid. I had a similar situation in high school. I was stupid. Thought I was madly in love with the guy, even though he repeatedly emotionally abused me. I thought I hit the jackpot because he was handsome and everyone thought he was cool. I stayed because it was the first guy to show interest in me, and I had zero self-esteem. I thought if I left, nobody would want me, part of the emotional abuse. Finally left because I was the worst version of myself with him, and I think he cheated on me. I even remember, after we broke up we saw each other, and he commented on how much I'm letting myself go, because I had something in my teeth. Fast forward, I'm 4 years married to the kindest man in the world, whom I'm madly in love with. When I was in a relationship with my ex, I liked her, cared for her, been there for her when she needed, and gave space if she needed. I don't know if this is love, but she did none in return. She just said yes and that's it. She was only physically attracted to me, I guess. I don't think she ever loved me. She broke up with me for nothing. One day she wanted me out of her life, so I left. I was in the other side of this relationship, basically to a T. I can't really excuse it. It was pretty shitty of me. I just couldn't bring myself to care at the time. It was always just a why not, I guess for me at the time, but I could never be bothered to put in the effort. Eventually I broke up with her when she told me she felt like I wasn't putting in any effort. I basically just said I know and I don't think I will. You're better off elsewhere. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for I upload daily and suggest what subreddit I should cover next. Thank you and happy travels.